Won the game. Hardly broke a sweat, did they? That was easy for Chelsea today.
Oh, it was very, very easy. And I think we both looked at this before the game, me and JJ, and we said, oh, this could be a tough one for Chelsea, you know, considering all the players all over the world coming back in. But Newcastle didn't turn up and Chelsea were excellent. Like I said, the way they transitioned from defence to attack just kept the pressure on Newcastle, and they wasn't able to even get out their half, particularly in the first half, and it was a walk in the park at the end.
Look, it's difficult for Newcastle. Chelsea have got very good players, and you know they came here with a very good attitude, and obviously they implemented that onto the pitch. But my issue with Newcastle was just their own kind of attitude towards the game. I just didn't think they imposed themselves. They didn't seem to have the energy that I hoped that they would go into the game with. They were very kind of standoffish, passive, and just very beaten before the game even started to an extent, which was worrying to me.
So are we talking about a Newcastle team where it's the way the manager is setting them up and that is the issue? Or is it the quality of the player he's got? Because he's had 3 windows, yeah. Steve. He's been here over a year. Yeah,
but I think those players we spoke about at the start of the game, none of them played today. So, you know, I don't think I think Steve today is trying to protect his team because he knows he's up against a very good side. But he'll also know there needs to be a lot of improvement when it comes to application on the pitch. OK, well, I'll tell you what, talking from a manager who won't be happy today to one who will be very happy indeed. Frank Lampard's just emerged over on the other side of the pitch and he's with Des.
Thanks very much, Jake. Frank, congratulations. You've extended your run of unbeaten games to a dozen now, but if we're going to be ultra-critical, do you think you might have wrapped that one up a bit earlier?
Yeah. It's always smoother on the bench for me and the staff when you do, but it can happen. Listen, I think we played well. It's not an easy game for us coming here against a very organised team. Great to get the early goal. That changes the aspects of it, but the second one was then so important, and we obviously had chances to get that earlier. And even after that, we can maybe score again. But you know, we can't have it all our own way. If there are days where you are not quite in front of goal, then we put the game away very well, I thought, in our professional performance.
You say you can't have it all your own way, but you pretty much did in the first half. It was around 80% possession, but maximised that and killed the game off.
Yeah, I think we settled into that. I thought the first 20 minutes we were great because we had control and we had penetration. We had people running in behind. We were getting the side and making crosses. I think there's sometimes a danger of that sort of control that becomes comfort, which is dangerous. And we then turned it over a couple of times. So that was the message at half-time. They came out, to be fair, more positive in the second half. And I always felt that the real danger moments for us could be on transition and counter-attack, because Timo showed that 2 or 3 times in the first half, and then obviously he shows that for Tammy's goal.
And is the word complacency applicable here in certain sense, in the fact that you were so dominant, it became easy?
I think it can be human nature and a bit natural, and it's important for a group as up for us. If we want to get to where we want to be, then you have to work on those moments when you do go ahead, but you don't get complacent, and you keep. As I said, penetration was the big thing for me, of having control but people still wanting to run. It's very easy to think, or come short to the ball. It's very easy to think, I'll play the safe pass. We had to keep making those more dangerous passes and the runs and the effort to get in there. And I think to a degree we did. It's not an easy game. I understand the players sometimes can become comfortable. It's little lessons where we can get better.
And sometimes it's just about getting a result after the international fixtures as well.
Definitely, and we play well. We play well in patches, and the result is key in these games because the Premier League is tough, it's relentless, and after the break where we were playing well and everyone goes in their own directions and comes back, you try and get the message. You have to wake up early this morning and slap yourself and get out of bed and eat your pre-match, and that's fine. I thought they dealt with the challenge of the game very well today, the lads, so I'm very pleased.
But you can have a look at the top of the table and see Chelsea right there. That's going to be quite pleasing, even for a short while.
It's pleasing, but I'm not going to get excited about being top of the table for 5 minutes. I think it's time to stay humble when you go top and know that it's a long race.
On top of the Premier League table, and as you heard there from Ian, what form they're in as well, the winning games. They're keeping clean sheets. They're unbeaten in the last couple of months. Not only that, they are the top scorers in the Premier League, and they're ahead of Leicester City on goal difference. Meanwhile, if we take a look at the bottom half of the table for Newcastle, 1 shot on target today, 1 clean sheet in the league all season. They remain there in 13th place. So busy and very impressive today from Chelsea.
Very impressive. I don't think Frank will thank me, but you know, you're looking at that and you're looking at a team that are title contenders, because not only that performance, you have to add in the fact that Thiago Silva was left at home with his feet up. Pulisic, arguably the best player from the back end of last season, wasn't involved. I mean, they was just brilliant from start to finish. Like Maka was right when he's talking about the man of the match. It could have been any of a number of them. They was all excellent today. So it's just a very, very, very positive sign for Chelsea and Chelsea Football Club.
Everyone seems to have an opinion about Newcastle fans, but when you come here and you sit in the stadium and you watch that performance from Newcastle, it gives you a real understanding of the frustration, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we were sat over there, weren't we, for that large portion of the game, and it was it's worrying at times. And I think that top end of the pitch is just blunt. There's not any stage when the game's going on do you feel like something's going to happen. You're hoping. It's just a hopeful feeling. It's not like a kind of a strategic plan of actually, you get the ball into him and he looks dangerous. I mean, the Joel Lenton thing's just not working. It's been a year and he doesn't look dangerous in that position. Maybe he's a right-sided player or a left-sided player, but either way, there's a lot of food for thought there. And as you said, a lot of feeling of, I suppose, what the fans have been dealing with around here for a portion of time.
Absolutely. Well, while they look blunt in attack, Chelsea look the absolute opposite. Let's hear from a man who enjoyed himself out there today. Tammy Abraham is with us.
Tammy, well done. Took some time to clinch that result, but you got there, 12 unbeaten now.
Yes, fantastic result. We dug deep. Coming here is never an easy place to come and get 3 points, and we did that today. 1-0 for a very long time, and they created a few chances, and so did we. But we defended well, and we got the second goal.
He's actually quite one-sided, particularly in that first half. Was that the message after the international duty to make that quick start?
Yeah, we know we ended well, and we didn't let the international break distract us. We had to come out all guns blazing, and that's what we did today. And like I said, it was a massive 3 points. A little bit uneasy at the fact that you dominated that first half, but you couldn't kill the game off at all. Yeah, them games are tricky, always tricky. When you're 1-0 up and you can't get that second goal, and they're creating a few chances. It's very easy to drop your head and lose confidence, but we didn't do that. We kept our confidence and kept going. Yeah, there were a few surprises there, a few misses and a few misplaced passes that you could have killed it off, but you did it in the end. At third match running you've scored, so decent service you're getting as well, I should think, from these players. Yeah, we knew we're quick on counter-attack, so I had to get myself forward, and I was tired, but I had to stay in control and pass it through the keeper, and that's what I've done, and killed the game off, thankfully. And you've moved to the top of the table. There's no harm in that right now, is there? No pressure. No. Obviously, that's where we want to be, and just keep getting 3 points.
Well, he won't get excited, but I'm sure Joe will. The fact that Chelsea are back where he feels they belong. And look, we can talk for hours about, are they going to stay the course? Are they going to win the league? That's just guesswork. What isn't guesswork is that whether it's clean sheets at the back or it's Tammy and Timo up front, everything is improving.
Yeah, exactly. With a recruitment in the summer, you plug gaps. You brought Mendy in because the goalkeeper with Kepa wasn't working. Straight away, that's improved the team. Left back was a problem position last year. Chilwell's coming. Duck to water, straight in there. He looks like he's been there years. Thiago Silva, that was the one I was not worried about. I was like, where's this going to go? Because he's 36. I knew he's been a great player, and he's come in and been outstanding. And then you put them three things, that's 30% of a team, 20% of a team. That's improved. Straight away, it's lifted the whole of Rudiger's come in today and was exceptional as well. So he's buying into the whole thing. The whole project's going in the right direction. And I'll be the one getting excited. I think we can do it.
What did you think of the partnership up front today?
I think it's brilliant. Tammy has done fantastic to get in this team because people would have just assumed that Werner was coming. See, he picks up these positions. He gives you something different, Tammy. He attacks the ball. He's obsessed with scoring goals. His attitude's brilliant. Here, he's linking up. He's there, and he just misses out there from getting at the far post. But if you look at Tammy in his game, he's always arriving. Sometimes he gets it right, sometimes he don't, and he's always improving. This one in particular, I think he plays it down to Werner here. He just should have gambled here. He's inches away from tapping it in. This a little bit of plays. These two, Werner plays inside off that left channel. He's not a winger in a sense. He's a forward. He's just a left forward. But this for me, look at this, JJ. This is exceptional.
No, I just think that you'll get more out of Timo Werner when you have somebody
like that. They almost tell you what to do. He told Tammy there, go in it this first time, enjoy yourself, lad, have a goal. It was brilliant. And the link-up play was brilliant, not just from them, Ziyech as well coming in. So, like I said, it's exciting for Chelsea fans.
And what does it tell us about what's going on at the training ground? That Tammy sees all those reinforcements coming in over the summer, yet not only is he able to deal with that and put in these kinds of performances, but also the manager is able to explain to him that you still have a key role here. Same with bringing in Rudiger today. Frank manages to get the best out of him in that situation.
Yeah, I think the Rudiger discussion is a lot more difficult for Frank than the Tammy one. Yeah. I think, Frank has opened the door to the youngsters at Chelsea and given them, a real start to their career. Granted, Tammy's, he's gone out on loan and proven himself, and he's come back to Chelsea and shown Frank and Jody that he can be counted on. And I think you have to give the player a lot of credit for that. But the attitude's always going to be there. He's a Chelsea boy, and Jody and Frank know him very well. I think with players like Rudiger, internationals, you would feel that keeping them on side when they're not starting week in, week out is a much more difficult thing. But me and Joey were just talking. What's that now? 6 clean sheets out of 7 games or something like that. Rudiger can't argue with that. He has to come in and prove exactly what he did today. I'm going to be a part of it moving forward, and that shows that that Frank's man management is absolutely spot on with the group of players that he's got right now.
And that's the nature of the beast. When you're at a club like Chelsea or any of the really big boys, every summer they're going to be bringing in players to strengthen, and they're not bringing in players to come and sit on the bench. They're bringing in players to make an impact on the pitch. So Rudiger, it's a difficult one because he's a senior player and he's been a captain and everything. But like I said, you've got to give credit where credit's due. He's coming today, difficult day for him. He's pitched it right. It looked like the biggest credit I would say. It looked like Thiago Silva wasn't even missed one bit. He just come in, done his job, and it was an exceptional performance.
And look who's still to come back. I mean, you mentioned the players that weren't involved today. It looks ominous, doesn't it, for the rest at the moment?
You look at it. You add Pulisic, Havertz as well into the mix. It's an embarrassment of riches, and again, it's been built the right way. The structure's gone in place, the style of play, the methodology that Frank wants to play. The biggest credit you can play Frank, which I say, you can see his personality on the team, that work ethic, that togetherness, that relentlessness, and he's implemented that, and it's just a very, very exciting time for Chelsea fans. And if you'd gone back 2 years with a transfer ban and we're sitting here top of the league, all right, it might be for a couple of hours, but what a turnaround.
And we've all worked with Frank, whether as a pundit or as a player, and we know that he will look back on that first half, and they took the lead, they led at half-time. His frustration, as he mentioned there to Des,
it's the nature of the beast here. But when those goals don't go in, you need to maintain the pace of the play. You need to maintain getting tight to players and just the intensity to the game, because all it takes is, you saw it a little bit towards the end of the first half. They just fell off it a tiny bit, and Newcastle started to get a bit of hope. And then they shut that down again in the start of the second half. And I think that will please Frank just as much.
Don't forget, the 11 players that started the game today for Chelsea were all involved in the international break. Only 2 Newcastle players were. So Steve had a lot of time with them, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But they will need this kind of performance, even when they're fatigued, when you look at the fixtures that are to come. It's a really intense period.
It's an intense period. What I think Frank's done with a Rennes game, he might be able to tinker with it a little bit more, and bring it. The Tottenham game there, the one that stands out for any Chelsea fan. That one coming, that's a massive game, especially if Tottenham go and win today, this weekend against Man City. That's a massive game. Chelsea fans will look at that. But it's a tough game. It's a tough run-in. But listen, he's given himself a platform, and everyone's fit. Everyone's raring to go. People are coming in from the cold, Rudiger today, and performing, and that's a good sign. Them sort of things suggest to me that you're on the way for a mountain in a title challenge. All of the things are in place. It's a long way to go. And listen, Frank and Jody won't thank me for bigging him up and thinking it, but I'm just thinking from a fan's perspective. They'll be looking at home. They've seen successful teams in the past, and they'll look at the characteristics of this team and think to themselves, "Yeah, we got a chance."
OK, what about from a Newcastle perspective? Back-to-back defeats for them. Another game without a clean sheet, another game without a goal, another game with frustration for Steve Bruce and his players.
Steve, you had a few moments out there, but was it a tough afternoon? Do you feel you maybe gave them a little bit too much respect in the first half?
First half, yeah, we got off to an awful start. To concede after 10 minutes it makes it even more difficult than it already is. But you're right, first half in particular, maybe we were a bit too passive. Second half was much better, but obviously then you open yourself up a bit and you chase the game higher up the pitch, and unfortunately they pick you off. And I just thought the best spell in the game was, unfortunately, when we conceded the second one.
You must almost have taken some solace from the fact that you were just 1 goal down at half-time in terms of the possession.
Yeah, in terms of possession, they had possession, but and they had probably another big chance after that. But we had 1 or 2 opportunities, but didn't quite take them. But first half in particular, we didn't do maybe enough, and maybe we were too deep. And you're right, that lack a bit too much respect at times, where it's always the same when you play that system where you're sucked back very, very quickly. No matter how much you work on it, unfortunately, we were a little bit deep at times. But they're a very, very good side. And as I said, when you go higher up the pitch against them, they can't expose you the other end.
And there'll be grumbles, of course, but there is a certain amount of realism involved.
There's always grumbles.
Of course, but after a defeat. But when we're talking about this Chelsea side that spent a lot of money to just be in the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had a couple of players missing, important ones to us. So we're not going to make any. It was a difficult afternoon, and at the end of the day, Chelsea are a very, very good team, and they've spent, as we know, huge amounts of money. And it was a difficult afternoon. Second half in particular, there was a lot of pleasing points, which we'll focus on. We had 1 or 2, 3 really decent opportunities, and against a big team like this, you've got to take them. And unfortunately, we couldn't take one.
And what's the injury to your skipper? Does that look serious?
It's a strange one because he hurt his knee just before half-time, and as he's ran out to try and test his knees, he's felt his thigh. So it was a difficult and a strange one, but we hope he's not too bad. Thanks.
Yeah, we hope he makes a quick recovery. Can that manager and this set of players try and play the kind of football that we want to see them play? To entertain, to have shots on target, to improve results?
I don't think it's as easy as that, no. I think he's got the group of players he had on the pitch today. I think it's very difficult. I think if you drop John Joe Shelvey into that, Fraser, Wilson, Hendrick, then you've got a better opportunity to do that. I think he was right in terms of the back three basically turned into a back six at times, which, you know, he gave up so much space in the midsection of the pitch that, you know, second balls.
Who's that on then? Because he's had 2 weeks with these players to get ready for this game.
I think, you know, he has to accept some responsibility himself. I think the players need to own it as well, because me and Joe were talking, there are times, you know, when the back five or back six were in, you just need a player just to go away. You know, Joey said he had it with Makalele. Do you know what I mean? I had it with players I played with. It was like, this is my area. I take responsibility for this. I don't need you in here. Whereas today there was too many kind of, oh, get near me, I need you. Can you get round me because I need your help type feeling, rather than people taking responsibility. So that's stuff that I think he needs to build, you know, with the characters that he does have in his team, if anything.
Yeah, in particular, I think that the captain, Lascelles, he's the voice at the back. We was listening to him talking a lot, but the occasions when Newcastle come unstuck with the 2 wing-backs, if you like, weren't getting up to Chelsea. They wasn't getting close to anyone. And Lascelles and the 2 boys next to him were marking Tammy by himself. So you need to be responsible. The players need to take it on board and go, right, if we sit back in this position, that's okay. But any time Chelsea come into our third, release, get to someone, you can't shut down Ziyech from 5 yards away. He's too good. You need to be on his toes. It was just like he done when he just delivered one in for Tammy and nearly scored. But there was too much negativity. There wasn't.
Oh, why though?
We watched Reece James take on 2 players on his own down here.
Yeah.
No, Lewis and Sam Maximin trying to get by him, and he took them on himself. Now that's 2 things. One of the things is obviously he's a strong character even as a young player, but he's also a very, very good footballer. And these are things that, as a manager, Steve Bruce can't control. He's got the players that he's got, and he's trying his best to work within that. The one thing he can control, maybe it is time just to kind of open them up and go, you know what, let's go 4-3-3, 4-4-2, and, you know, see what happens then. But, you know, we've seen how that can go before.
A quick answer if you can, and it's not an easy one. 7 Premier League wins in the whole of 2020. Are they going to go down?
No.